Men over 60, do you wake up and notice your mornings aren't the same anymore? That natural vitality, the signal of healthy blood flow, has quietly faded. It feels like just age. But it's not. In many men, weak mornings are the result of hidden night habits that not only steal circulation, but also raise the risk of stroke. And tonight's choices may decide how strong or weak your mornings and your health really are. I'm Dr. Evelyn Hart, a board-certified urologist with more than 25 years of experience helping men over 60 protect their circulation, restore vitality, and lower their stroke risk. I've seen countless patients who thought weak mornings were just part of aging, until we discovered the real cause hiding in their nighttime habits. In this video, I'll reveal the 5 most common habits that quietly drain your vitality overnight, and how recognizing them could protect not only your mornings, but your life. Late, heavy dinners. Meet Richard, 66. Every night after dinner, he enjoyed a second helping, sometimes pasta, sometimes steak with bread, often close to bedtime. He thought it was harmless comfort food. But in the morning, he noticed something was missing. His body felt heavy, his mornings weak, and the vitality he once counted on had quietly disappeared. Here's what was happening. When you eat a large meal late at night, your body shifts blood toward digestion. Instead of nourishing your heart, brain, and pelvic region, circulation is redirected to break down food. The result? Blood flow where you need it most is compromised. And that shows up the next morning as poor energy, sluggish circulation, and weak vitality. Science supports this. A study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that late-night eating disrupts nitric oxide production, the molecule responsible for relaxing and widening blood vessels. Without nitric oxide, arteries stay stiff, circulation slows, and the morning signal of health and vitality fades. But it doesn't stop there. Heavy late dinners also spike blood pressure during the night. According to the American Heart Association, nighttime hypertension is strongly linked with higher stroke risk in older adults. That means your choice at 9 p.m. could quietly influence your risk of waking up with more than just a weak morning. It could set the stage for a life-threatening event. Richard didn't realize his midnight indulgence was robbing him twice, first of his vitality, then of his safety. When he shifted his biggest meals earlier in the evening, his mornings grew stronger again, and his doctor confirmed his blood pressure improved overnight. And late dinners are just the beginning. The second hidden habit is one many men turn to for better sleep. But it backfires badly. Alcohol as a sleep aid. George, 69, often poured himself a glass of whiskey before bed. He believed it helped him fall asleep faster, and it did. At first, within minutes he drifted off, but by morning his vitality was gone. His circulation felt sluggish, his body heavy, and the strength he once expected each morning was fading. Here's the truth. Alcohol may knock you out quickly, but it disrupts the deep sleep cycles your body relies on to restore circulation. Instead of reaching restorative REM sleep, your night is broken into shallow stages. That means less nitric oxide release, poorer vascular repair, and weaker blood flow come morning. The result is not only fatigue, but also a sharp drop in morning vitality. Science backs this up. A review in Alcohol Research. Current reviews found that even moderate drinking before bed increases nighttime blood pressure and reduces heart rate variability. 2 clear markers of vascular stress. Another study in Stroke Journal linked evening alcohol intake with higher risk of nighttime hypertension and ischemic stroke in men over 60. George thought a nightcap was harmless, even healthy. But over time, it was draining his mornings and quietly stressing his blood vessels. When he replaced his whiskey with herbal tea and improved sleep hygiene, His mornings returned stronger, his circulation improved, and his blood pressure readings stabilized. Alcohol, as a sleep aid, is a thief. It steals deep rest, it steals circulation, and it increases the very risk you're trying to avoid. But alcohol isn't the only nighttime disruptor. The next warning sign strikes millions of older men and often wakes them up again and again. Frequent nighttime urination. Walter, 72, dreaded bedtime. Not because he couldn't fall asleep, but because he knew he'd be up 2, sometimes 3 times, to use the bathroom. He laughed it off as just an old man's bladder, but by morning his body felt drained, his circulation weak, and the vitality he remembered from younger years was gone. Here's why. Frequent nighttime urination, or nocturia, isn't just a prostate issue. It's a signal that your heart, kidneys, and blood vessels are under stress. Each time you wake, your sleep is fragmented. This breaks the natural cycle where hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, both essential for vascular repair and vitality, are released. Without deep, continuous rest, nitric oxide production falls, circulation slows, and morning vitality fades. The risk goes beyond weak mornings. Research published in Stroke Journal found that men with nocturia had a significantly higher risk of stroke, independent of prostate health. Why? Because nocturia is often linked to hidden cardiovascular problems, like nighttime hypertension and fluid overload, both of which strain arteries and increase clot risk. Walter's test later revealed that his frequent urination wasn't just about his bladder. It was an early sign of vascular dysfunction. Once he managed his fluid intake, adjusted medications with his doctor, and improved sleep quality, his mornings grew stronger and his stroke risk dropped. So, if you're waking often at night, don't ignore it. Your body may be warning that circulation is failing long before a crisis arrives. And while nocturia can drain your nights and mornings, there's an even more dangerous disruptor. One that literally cuts off oxygen while you sleep. Sleep apnea and snoring. Charles, 70, had snored for years. His wife often nudged him at night when his breathing seemed to stop, only to restart with a gasp. He dismissed it as just snoring, but every morning he woke with a pounding head, weak circulation, and fading vitality. This wasn't harmless snoring. It was sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly pauses during sleep. Each pause robs the body of oxygen, forcing blood vessels to constrict and the heart to work harder. Over time, this constant stress stiffens arteries, lowers nitric oxide availability, and weakens circulation throughout the body. Morning vitality fades because blood simply isn't flowing as it should. The danger goes deeper. Research in the American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine shows that untreated sleep apnea doubles the risk of stroke in men over 60. Why? Because every episode of oxygen loss raises nighttime blood pressure and thickens vessel walls. The brain and pelvic region, both dependent on steady blood flow, are hit hardest. Charles eventually underwent a sleep study and was diagnosed with severe apnea. With treatment, not only did his mornings grow stronger, but his stroke risk dropped dramatically. Sleep apnea is not just about snoring. It's about oxygen deprivation that silently damages circulation, erodes vitality, and raises the risk of life-threatening events. And while oxygen loss can silently strangle your circulation, another common habit does the same by simply keeping you still. For hours, inactivity. Before bed, Daniel, 68, had a simple evening routine. After dinner, he sank into his recliner, turned on the TV, and often stayed there for hours before shuffling off to bed. It felt harmless, even restful. But each morning, he noticed his legs felt heavy, his hands cold, and his morning vitality weaker than ever. Here's why. Long periods of sitting in the evening cause blood to pool in the legs. without the pumping action of active muscles. Venous return to the heart slows, circulation weakens, nitric oxide release drops, and by morning, the body has lost its natural rhythm of blood flow. The result? Poor circulation, sluggish energy, and fading vitality. The problem is more serious than it seems. A large cohort study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that men who sat for more than 6 hours daily had a 34% higher risk of fatal cardiovascular events, including stroke. Extended inactivity before bed amplifies this risk, because circulation is already at its lowest during sleep. Daniel's case was telling. When he began a simple 15-minute walk after dinner and added light stretching before bed, his mornings transformed. His circulation improved, his vitality returned, and his blood pressure readings dropped. Evening inactivity may look like relaxation, but it silently robs your body of circulation and raises stroke risk. The stiller your nights, the weaker your mornings, and the higher the danger. We've now uncovered 5 common nighttime habits that drain circulation, steal vitality, and increase stroke risk. But the real message is not fear, it's hope. Because once you recognize these habits, you can change them. What we've seen is clear. Your mornings don't fade by accident. They are shaped by what happens the night before. Heavy late dinners, that nightcap you think helps you sleep, repeated bathroom trips, loud snoring from sleep apnea, and hours of sitting before bed. Each of these habits quietly drains your circulation. They steal your morning vitality and over time raise your stroke risk. But here's the hopeful truth. These are not unchangeable conditions. They are habits, and habits can be reshaped. By shifting your biggest meal earlier, replacing alcohol with calming tea, managing fluid intake, checking for sleep apnea, and adding a short evening walk, you can transform both your nights and your mornings. Morning vitality is more than a private measure of manhood. It's a daily signal of vascular health. Pay attention to it, and it becomes your body's most reliable early warning system. The lesson is simple. When you protect your nights, you protect your mornings. And when you protect your mornings, you protect your life. If these nighttime habits sound familiar, don't ignore them. Small changes tonight can mean stronger circulation, better mornings, and lower stroke risk tomorrow. If this video helped you, click like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. And in the comments, type strong morning. I'd love to hear how you're protecting your health. Disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only and does not replace medical advice. Always consult your physician before making changes to your diet, sleep, or medications.